Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Guys on Sports. Week 8 is in the books. Week 9, we look ahead. How's it going, guys? How was your fantasy week?
Okay. It's bad because I lost to the best team in one league because George Pickens got pushed out of bounds. He got one leg in. The other leg was coming down.
He got it in twice.
It's a bunch
of well, thank you for that right away.
Bunch of crap. And I lost by 3 points.
Mm-hmm. Season over? Season over?
I mean, I'm starting to take trade offers.
Tankathon?
No, I'm not tanking, but I'm starting to take off.
Oh, that's tanking. Mark, what about you?
I
just keep it to the home leagues.
Overall, pretty good week.
Yeah.
But I lost in the worst possible fashion you could. I lost by 0.05 points in one league, and that was with CD putting up like 39.5. Absolutely ridiculous.
Don't you miss the good old days when you just tied instead of losing by percentage points?
Yeah, because when you lose by 0.05, like then I mean you go through your lineup with a fine tooth comb. You're like, where'd I mess up? What happened?
This is a weird year in fantasy because like a lot of times by week 8, I look at my roster and I'm like, I don't like my team. I don't know what I was thinking. I look at my team. I love it. It is not a bad team. I just can't get them all to score.
It happens.
On the same damn week.
It happens. There's something to be said for roster construction, and that's a whole other conversation we probably should have in the offseason. But before we go any further, just want to direct you guys to, start heading over to our Patreon. The link is in the bio. I'm going to put it here on screen. Go to our Patreon. We got Mark Stardom, Sid'em. What is it? Stardom, Sid'em. There's 4 things you put.
Get them, stick with them, sit them,
roll the dice. Roll the dice. And Rocky has his week-to-week positional rankings.
I've been hitting it too. I'm just gonna brag a little bit.
Yeah, we are. And some of my best bets hit this week too. So go there. There is a bunch of stuff there. You have access to us. We will give you roster advice, trade grades, all that stuff that you look for. You get direct access to us. Go to the Patreon. It's super cheap. Help support the show. Keep us doing this. We love you guys. But without any further ado, let's move on to Wiretap. Wiretap this week. We're going to pick out basically our favorite waiver wire ad, and then we will give you one that we think's a little bit overrated that we want you to stay away from and not waste your waiver wire ticket on. So, Rocky, do you want to go first, or
sure,
we can swing it to Mark if you're not prepared?
No, I am prepared, and we're going to go first with who you should pick up.
That's right.
And I am going to take you down to a great little city right on the coast, Jacksonville. And we're going to pick up Parker.
Duval.
Yeah. We're going to pick up Parker Washington.
Why?
He flashed as a rookie last year. Last week was his biggest target share, biggest game ever.
Largest.
Albeit 3 for 46, not huge.
Yeah.
But the reality is
trending in the right direction. Sorry.
Well, and Kirk is out. He's on the IR out the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But not just that. Brian Thomas is working through chest contusion.
Deep contusion.
It's kind of like a rib. It's not easy to get over.
It's like heartache.
You can hit a lot. Yeah.
Deep chest
Well,
contusion.
they were worried that it was like a rib injury. Yeah. So it was something. It wasn't nothing. Yeah. I think it's a good ad. I don't hate that.
I mean, at this week 9, if you're in any kind of competitive league, clearly a lot of you are not because you're sending us your rosters and we just can't figure it out. But
yes.
But if you're in a decent league, most of the great players are picked up already.
And you're trying to always add. You're always trying to add for depth. You never know what's going to happen.
To keep somebody else from getting it. Like maybe you're trying to keep the team that's slightly better than you from picking up.
I do that.
Wide receiver.
You have to do it.
I do prick ups.
Yeah,
for sure.
Prick ups. That's what I like that.
Prick ups.
You know what? That should be another part of this segment. Your prick up, a guy that you're picking up just to piss somebody else doesn't get him.
I just thought of that.
That's
right
perfect.
off the top of the dome.
All right, see, don't pat yourself on the back. I'm already doing it.
You got pricks on your mind.
All right, your turn.
So
who you got?
I like that pickup. Because Jacksonville is like -2-10 this year, and Trevor
playing from
DeGeneres
behind.
Lawrence is going to have to throw nonstop for at least 75 attempts for the rest of the season per game.
Per
I like
game.
that pickup.
Yeah, that's nice.
I was fully prepared to come in here and retract and tell you to go out and get yourself some Will Dissly, because for the second straight week, dude was a target monster. But I'm not going there. Why? Because in the last, 4 hours or so, Carolina just traded away Deontay Johnson. What does that mean? That means that Jonathan Mingo is going to be a regular starter in this lineup. Mm-hmm. Jonathan Mingo is going to pick up the target share that Deontay is vacating. So you're going to have, obviously, Leggett is the go-to man. And then you're going to have another team that's going to be playing from behind, probably for the next decade. You might want to go up and pick them up in dynasty leagues and start playing them, because Jonathan Mingo from here on out should get a pretty decent snap count and target share.
Okay, so that's 2 times in 2 weeks that's happened to me. Last week you took Cedric Tillman. I was suggesting what ridiculous Browns. Oh, Elijah Moore. He goes Xavier Legette, right? You went Jonathan Mingo. Yeah. So I'm going Jalen Coker. And Jalen Coker last week, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 78 yards, late touchdown, kind of fluky touchdown. Deontay Johnson is out of town, and I don't hate picking up either of these guys, because I think it's kind of a Russian roulette what's going to really happen there. We know Andy Dalton he already said Dave Canales said that he's starting this week. And there's rumors and whispers about Adam Thielen is going to probably be out of town too. He's going to get traded. I think the reason it hasn't happened yet is because he's still coming back from injury. But they're saying he's like right at the point where he's going to be ready to play. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him go. They're going to roll with Dalton for the rest of the season. So if you do have a pass catcher in this offense, that's what you want. It's best case scenario for you.
So we're going. This is the one you should not pick up.
That's right.
And My Browns look good. They look competent. They haven't looked competent all year with Deshaun Watson under center, but suddenly Jameis comes out there preaching the gospel of Cleveland sports. The guy, Cedric Tillman, looks like he's going to be the main guy in their offense right now. Jerry Jeudy is still there, second in targets. Elijah Moore looks good. In fact, he's gotten 18 targets in the last 2 games. But here's something, if you're a Browns fan, you know. That's 3 less than the entire other 6 games. He's not going to be the main share. He's going to be the slot receiver, and he's going to do a fine job. He's probably going to get 3 to 4 passes most games. But they've got a healthy Njoku who's back, and every week, the last 2 weeks, he's at 24 targets. Jameis and Jeudy are starting to build some camaraderie. And if you noticed on Sunday, he threw to Nick Chubb more than Nick Chubb has ever been thrown to. And so I think it's going to be Tillman and Jeudy, Njoku, Chubb. Moore will get a couple passes, but I think you're going to have to way overpay based on the last 2 games.
I thought you were going, when you said, get this, 3 less. I thought you were going to say in franchise history. Like he had more targets 3 weeks than any receiver in the history of the franchise.
Previous 6 games.
You could have just said this season. People would have rolled with it.
All right.
I like to,
wouldn't have fact checked you on it,
man. Hard number.
So I'm going to keep it there in the AFC North. All right. Chances are you may have gone out and gotten him last week, possibly the week prior, but he is still available on a lot of waiver wires. Don't get him. Baltimore just added Deontay Johnson. Even though Rashad Bateman is now probably the best wide receiver 3 outside of Tank Dell in the league. Well, Tank Dell's not really, because Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs are both out with injury. Typically, Dell is wide receiver 3. But Bateman's a very capable wide receiver 3. I just don't think they have the offense to get their wide receiver 3 the ball enough, right? You got Derrick Henry, who's going to get fed. And then you have Zay Flowers, who is their dynamic playmaker. Now you bring in another field stretcher in Deontay Johnson, and you have the goddamn twin towers at tight end and Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews. I don't think there's enough balls to go around. Harbaugh's not messing around. He knows exactly what to do. He goes quick on the outside, tall in the middle, and the strongest running back possibly to ever play the game outside of Earl Campbell. And I don't know. I really liked Bateman going into this weekend until that news broke about 4 hours ago. And I don't think Bateman's gonna do you any justice.
Yeah, I mean,
down the road, a lot of frustrating games coming your way.
Deontay is the receiver that Lamar's been looking for. He's the kind of guy that breaks off a route while the quarterback's scrambling, find the open zone. He did it. His best year came with Big Ben, which is shocking to think that he's been there that long. But I think he's the perfect receiver for Lamar Jackson, who is scary every damn play because you think you got him, and then he squirts out of there.
So to that point, Deontay's immediate plug and play. There is no learning curve here because Lamar buys so much time. All Deontay has to do is run from point A to point B, just a straight line. Lamar's got a great arm. They've got everybody else that already knows the routes. They just need the dude to get over the top, break off the lid, and take 2 defenders with him. And guess what? 2 defenders aren't always going to go with him, and he's going to win one-on-one balls.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I like that. We're going to talk more about Deontay later when we touch on the Panthers or the. We're not going to talk about Deontay later. Sorry about that. We will talk. We will mention
that guy.
We'll talk about it on the other side when we talk about the Panthers. All right. So the guy I'm telling you not to pick up is, the Jaden Daniels hype is there, even though they shouldn't have won that game, but they kind of should have. It's weird. It seemed like a game they should have won, but then they were going to lose, so they shouldn't have won it.
They should have lost.
But they should have won.
They
initially.
did lose the game.
No.
Worst no call in the history of the game.
This is not for this. Control yourself, okay? What I'm saying is they played the game in a way that they should have won it, but they were going to lose it. So they shouldn't have won it, but then they won it.
And then.
Okay? Anyway, the culprit here, Noah Brown, has not scored more than 6 fantasy points in a game this season, although he has been targeted pretty regularly. It has been to little to no effect outside from Sunday. So don't get him. He's not worth the ad. Don't get tricked by the Jaden Daniels receiver and the 16 points you see there. Stay away.
You got to say, though, it was one hell of a throw. I mean, that was every bit of 70 yards.
It was a deep throw.
Yeah.
I think you got to put all the blame on a Chicago defender for
guy,
just not being back there to box him out. It's terrible.
First he was talking trash to the fans.
Yeah, that was well, it's all bad.
So here's what happened.
The
reason why he even had the time to throw the ball
there's a hole
because there was a huge hole.
But there's a hole in every play.
Yeah, and we don't listen. This show is not to talk about the refs.
And Tariq Stevenson knew that he was able to get. So Tariq Stevenson's job there is to be on the outside of that skirmish and to bat the ball down, which is what he tried to do. He just didn't bat the ball down. So he had time to get back there.
There should have been somebody back there with Noah Brown, though. He was alone. They typically have a guy because that is a set play. There's supposed to be a guy back there to bat that ball down as well.
There should be.
But on to other things. We are going to move off the waiver wire picks and we're going to move into fantasy prime time. Fantasy Prime Time. We're going to highlight a few games for you, and we're going to draft players from that game. While we do that, we'll talk a little bit about what we think about the game, who we think is going to score. Is it going to be a high-scoring fantasy game, low-scoring? Either way, we'll make our picks. For the first game, Rocky, you'll get the first pick. Second game, Mark will get the first pick. Third game, I will get the first pick. And we will take 2 picks each, excluding quarterbacks. Yep. Thank you, because I forgot the last 2 weeks. So we're starting with the Chargers of L.A. against your hometown Browns. So how apropos that you get the first pick. And I think this is an interesting game. I think a lot more interest in offensive players for the Browns now. What say you?
Yeah, to me, this is an easy choice at 1-1. The Browns feasted on Baltimore's defense, which in their secondary, like the 32nd worst secondary, and their 2 best guys were out. But now they're going to play a team like the Chargers that are like the number 11, number 9 against the pass. And so they're going to have to make hay the old-fashioned way, and that's with Nick Chubb. And I'm going Nick Chubb. This is a game that Nick Chubb is going to score and is going to at least run for 80 to 100 yards. He could have a big game. First game, he was hesitant. Last week, there were a couple moves he made where it was classic Nick Chubb. There was one where there was nothing, and he pushed through and got 7 yards. And then there was one cut to the right where he got almost 25 yards. I can see him getting healthy, and I think this is a week he breaks out.
Sounds like he starts limp and then gets Chubb, gets downfield. It's nice. I for sure thought you were going where I now am going to go, and that's Jerry Jeudy. Yeah, I think they're going to throw the ball around a little bit. Chargers got a pretty decent secondary, but you know what? I like Jameis Winston. His accuracy is definitely a question mark.
8 for 15 on throws over 20 yards.
But
2 touchdowns.
He's got balls of steel, and he just pushes the ball down the field, and
accuracy
Jerry
is
Jeudy
not
gets
in question.
down.
Talk about a game.
7 passes should have been intercepted in that game.
Well, talk about a team that won that should have lost. There was clearly, now 7, you're overstating it. There were 3 clear INTs.
No, there were 7. There were 7 that went through the hands of defenders.
Says who?
There was
Says
3
the announcers
that were
during the
dropped.
game.
Oh, so you believe the announcers? Okay.
The hand of God.
Just like I believe Kamala is going to save the country.
The hand of God.
Why? It's another thing for me to edit out. Come on, man.
The hand of God reached down and smacked that ball out like.
Hey, so it's my pick, huh? So who'd you take again?
He took
Chubb, Jeudy. Wow. All right, so I guess. Yeah, I'm gonna just roll with J.K. Dobbins here. It worries me a little bit because it looks like they've opened the offense up a little more, especially last week. They're letting Herbert throw the ball, Bear throw the ball a little bit more. But I still think they're gonna want to get a heavy dose of J.K. Dobbins in there. So give me J.K.
All right, my second pick is the pick I thought Mark was going to take. Probably the pick Mark should have taken, Cedric Tillman. The guy is good.
I got you wrong both times.
The guy is good, man.
Yeah.
It just leaves Njoku out there.
Yeah, I was going to take Njoku, but I guess you're
I like
taking him.
Njoku, and I do think he's. But you guys, let them for you guys. I think Tillman is the deep threat. He's got enough size to be the red zone target, and they've hooked up now for. I think he was targeted 24 times in the last 2 weeks. Had his 2 best games as a career.
Yeah, you said that.
So yeah.
Well, guess what, Phil? You've been gifted Njoku because I'm going with Mad McConkey here.
Okay,
Mad McConkey.
That's not bad. Wow,
And,
okay. Sorry.
He is shown out to be obviously Air Bear's go-to guy. Even when I thought he was going to have a down game last week, he shut me up. He had 7 receptions for $143 and 2 tutties. Sign me up against that porous Brown secondary because we all know that Lamar just threw all over the field on him. I think Lamar threw for 260, right? 260, 3 touchdowns, something like that. So I look for Air Bear to repeat.
What do you?
Why not McConkey?
Stop trying to hurt each other.
Who is the? I'm trying to think of the wide receiver that played in Miami. Then he was traded to Cleveland. LSU product. Starts with the J.
Beckham?
Jarvis Landry?
Yeah, Landry. So Ladd reminds me of a fast Jarvis. He runs a route really, really well, but he's quicker than Jarvis. He's a guy that...
Is he a really smart guy?
I don't know if he's smart, but I can tell you, I feel like he is somebody who can get 10 to 12 targets a game.
He's a real stand-up guy.
He is a stand-up guy, yeah.
All right, so without...
If you saw him hanging out in a car, you wouldn't question.
Yeah, you would. I'm going with...
I let my daughter date.
David Njoku is my pick.
It's a good pick.
So many targets. A freak of nature athletically, right? He'll score this week.
Yeah.
It
was a great... I tell you, that touchdown last week was beauty.
It was beauty. It was at his hips.
Yes.
All right, so we're going to Indianapolis Colts. This is our Colts. Have you guys seen that guy?
Yes, terrible.
Yeah.
No, he's great. Indianapolis Colts at the reeling Minnesota Vikings. I think they'll bounce back here. All right, so there's a lot in this game. There's a lot. Flacco's back. Joe Flacco. Immediate upgrade at the wide receiver positions for all those guys. Mark, you got first pick. Go for it.
Oh, man. Flacco back. Sign me up for some JT. You want to know why? Because Flacco's going to throw all over this shit secondary. Mm-hmm. This team is fraudulent. The Vikings, sound the horn. Skull, you're done. You're finishing at the bottom of the goddamn division. You're atrocious. You have Sam Darnold as your starting quarterback. You're going to get everything you deserve. Flacco is back, baby. What does he do? He opens up the passing lanes. They're going to have to overcompensate. JT there hits the hole harder than anybody in the league outside of Derrick Henry. JT is going to have himself a feast.
All right. It's just so much. It's so much.
That's a lot there.
All right. So I like Flacco, and I like the JT pick. I can't hate on the JT pick, but I'm going Justin Jefferson. Sure, I'll take. Thanks, man. Give me Justin Jefferson.
Yeah. Darnold has looked like the old Darnold.
No, he hasn't.
He has.
He's looked
his
good.
Last couple
still.
games, he's looked less.
Yeah, he put up like 24 points for me last week, so I'm fine.
No, yeah, he's scoring. So is Baker. But if you look
that's
at
what
the
we're
last
talking
2 games
about.
of
Yeah,
Baker,
right?
7 interceptions in the last 10 quarters. When they're playing now, I don't
For
know
Baker or for Darnold?
Baker.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still got me like 35 points.
Yeah, but we're seeing the gaps in their games. But I think JJ.
I cannot let you stand here and bash Baker. He's better. I mean, the guy went into that game against the Falcons and almost won it with nobody at wide receiver, and you'll still bash him.
You know who won the game?
You're disgusting.
Know who won the game?
You're disgusting.
Jameis.
You're disgusting.
Jameis won the game.
Yes.
The better Baker.
I'm not going to argue against Jameis because I like
Kyle
Jameis.
Hamilton won the game. That's who won the game.
All right.
Go ahead,
My 1-3 pick, I guess.
Baker Mayfield's QB2 right now.
Come on. Maybe in your heart.
No, he is. Look at
You know
the
what
numbers.
happened? You know what happened to poor Baker? He was in Cleveland and he was distracted by them commercials. They forced him to do those goddamn commercials to call Cleveland was so desperate for a guy to be the face of that shit city that they forced him into all of those commercials.
Guys, we got to stop the cursing, you know?
Hey,
you really have to.
My guy, it's clear. I like a lot of players on the Vikings. I like a lot of players on Indy, but I'm going to go to the guy we just talked about, Josh Downs. Mm-hmm. My gosh, he has been targeted, I think it's 30 times in the last 4 games. Flacco, we know he likes to throw the ball around. It's a marked difference with AR.
Yeah.
Compared to Flacco,
Yeah.
so
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, I think Downs here benefits. I think he's a 15-point
for sure
player at least.
Who you got?
Here's who Baker did it with. He did it with Raheem Jarrett, Jalen McMillan, Trey Palmer, Ryan Miller, Sterling Shepard.
Cade Otton.
Sterling Shepard who got hurt.
We got Cade Otton. We got Rashid White.
Cade Otton who we're making jokes about
Bucky Irving.
in the preseason.
Bucky Irving.
The running backs, dude. I'm talking about his wide receiver core. All right. You know who benefits the most from Flacco coming back?
I do.
Is the WR1, Mr. Michael Pittman.
Yeah.
Mr. High Point, Mr. Go Get the Ball, Mr. I'm going to show Jay Jettas up in this game, Mr. Michael MPJ.
Yeah, I don't hate that. They all looked a lot better with him. I mean, I think you could pick any one of these guys. I like Downs better as a receiver as a whole, but I can't hate on going Pittman there. So that leaves me with Mr. Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is my pick. Aaron Jones just kind of went to the fountain of youth this year. He looks every bit like what we said in the preseason. Still thought he had juice, and he has juice. So give me Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
Wow, you're not leaving me much.
Oh, there's a lot. There's a lot of meat on the bone.
Well, I mean,
You know how to get it.
There's Mo Alley Cox. He's there.
No, please get that
Tyler
name out of your
Goodson.
Irv Smith, is he still around?
Irv Smith.
mouth. We've
We've
taken
let
all
you
the
take
meat
Sam
off the bones
Darnold.
in Indy.
Mo Alley Cox and Irv Smith are the same guy, right?
We took the best receiver and the best running back in Minnesota. I like Addison. I like Addison, but I'm going to go Mr. Johnny Munt. He's going to have a big game.
Oh, wow.
Tight end. I think he's a double digit this week. I think he scores a touchdown.
Hey, that's quite a...
You just Mr. Johnny punted that goddamn game right there.
It's a deep cut. I know you guys are more base fantasy fans.
We're too casual for that, yeah.
You're casuals.
All right, speaking of casual, the Panthers offense is down Deontay Johnson, and they're going to visit those Saints who should have Derek Carr back in tow. So I got the first pick here. Ooh. This is not really tough for me. I mean, look, Olave actually looked good again last week, which was nice to see. He's a consideration. But I think the number 1 overall pick has to be Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
Give me Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Well, I think that they're going to play him in order to trade him possibly.
Sure.
Until they re-up them.
Yeah, because people need to see who Alvin Kamara is.
They don't need to see it, but they like to be reminded.
Maybe you want him to not get hurt, so maybe don't. Maybe I shouldn't pick him.
New Orleans.
Yeah.
New Orleans. Royce Duplessis. He already gave the call, man.
He's a man among men. Go.
All right.
It's going to save this country one day.
Yes. I'm going to go Xavier Legette. I feel like he is now the 1-1 in Carolina.
Okay.
He's had some pretty good games. We know that Andy likes to throw the ball around.
He is a quarterback.
But he's a Jameis Winston.
Don't you ever come out of your face and say that.
Winston. Yeah, Jameis Winston. They're lookalikes. They like the same thing. They don't never seen a deep throw they don't like. So I'm going to go Xavier Legette.
Xavier Legette.
Wow. It's the 3rd time in 5 picks that I've had to scratch out Rocky's guy.
You don't got to read on him.
I don't at all. I'm going Chris Olave. I mean, I don't know where else you go with this. I mean, he was back after the concussion.
Yes.
8 balls for $120 or whatever it was. Yeah. I mean, it's...
Yeah, but they're down to their 3rd quarterback.
No. So Derek Carr's probably...
That's a rumor.
Returning.
No, it's not a rumor.
They heard that they are... Either way, they're not starting Rattler. And
I literally told you before the show, and then I just said it.
But I don't know if I trust you.
Well, that's a personal issue.
Who's the quarterback 3? Taysom?
Josh? Harm?
Johnson?
I don't know.
Sound it out.
Oh, the guy who looks like Blake Groupie's twin brother.
He's practicing Wednesday.
We'll see.
Hayner.
Yeah, until I know for sure.
Dennis Allen is optimistic that Carr will return in Week 9, so that sounds like he's playing.
Guy liner back in the lineup.
Emo QB1. All right.
Tonight is the night that I pass to Olave.
All right, so wow. So who do we got left here?
I nailed that note.
Is that the first round?
Yeah.
That feels bad. So it was Kamara, Legette, and Olave, huh?
Not much left.
Give me Chubba. Give me a Chubba Hubba. I'll take Chubba. Man, talk about a guy really, making something out of nothing. I mean, he's not special by any stretch of the imagination, but he's found a way to be productive.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me some Hubbard.
He is Mr. Average Joe Light. He really is. He is nothing short of pedestrian.
But
he gets it done.
He's solid.
He just does it.
He's like a tugboat,
He's like Joe Mixon minus hitting
Joe
women
Mixon,
in restaurants.
I think Cincinnati was holding Mixon back because Joe Mixon looks like a different player.
He does.
Somebody drug test him, but I think Hubbard's he's like a tugboat. Like he's not flashy, he's not fast. He's just gonna get the job done. You can't destroy him.
Straight ahead runner.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna for the second time in 2 games choose a tight end here.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go Mr. Taysom Hill. Last week he ran a couple, he caught a couple, he threw a couple.
Oh, that sounds like a game.
He's somebody who at any point can score a touchdown one of 3 ways.
That's right.
I like his upside better than the rest of the people left in this game. So, Mr. Hill.
All right. You like it 3 ways. We know that about you.
Now we know.
I'm going to surprise here. I think they're finally starting to at least unlock his utilization. I think Miles Sanders. I think they still want to see some return on investment with this guy, right? He had 7 receptions on 7 targets for 38 yards, right? I mean, he's not burning the place down, but 7 targets is 7 points in a PPR league.
That's
38
right.
yards.
Well,
he put up double digits.
Yeah.
He put up double-digit points here with limited usage, but I think that they're finally figuring out that, hey, this guy should be in the lineup. We should probably get the ball into his hands. What do we have to lose? I mean, we drafted Bryce Young 2 years ago. I mean, we're up Schitt's Creek for the next 2 decades anyway because we traded everything away.
2 decades. All right, so that's Fantasy Primetime. Head over to our TikTok where we will be highlighting players we think you should circle in your fantasy apps and dailies alike. Just go on there. The videos will be up. Me, Mark, Rocky, just spitting out the truth, spitting gems. All right, so with that in the books, we're going to move on to Single Digit Saloon. All right, guys, I don't know about you, but I love that graphic, and I love the way we're holding those cups. And by the way, those are Starbucks cups, not the skull. Yeah, I'm positive. Yeah, I have eyesight, and I zoomed in. You're blind. You're old. I get that. Single Digit Saloon. Who wants to go first? I'm sorry. That was uncalled for.
I'm not crying.
Okay. Single Digit Saloon. We're gonna pick one fantasy stud that we think is gonna have a down week. Who you got?
All right, I'll kick us off. I just spent a good portion of the first part of this show talking the team up. But I think they're really going to kick the tires and try to figure out what they can do with another playmaker in the fold in Baltimore, right? Here's their week to do it against Denver, right? Really not a threat to lose this game. Denver's pretty solid against the run to begin with. They have a bend, don't break at the goal line. And I really do think that Harbaugh is going to kick the tires on what this offense can do through the air. For those reasons, I think that Derrick Henry is going to visit the single-digit saloon this week. Is he going to lose carries? Maybe a couple. He's probably still going to get some decent yardage, but I don't think he's going to find pay there. And I don't think he's going to have any receptions this week either. I think now they've completely cut him out of the fold for even swing passes and screens and things of that nature. I just think they have too many guys that are very quick and can get, behind the line for a quick wide receiver screen and then get downfield a lot better than Derrick can in the passing game. I just think, going out on a limb here, but I'm going to say I think Derrick Henry is going to probably about 7 points this week.
All right, you're giving a point total. Okay. I will disagree with the Denver. I do think they could lose this game.
I think Denver's
better than people say. And Bo Nix looked good. Cortland Sutton looked good. And that Ravens defensive secondary you talked about, they still look pretty bad. There's still a Ravens team that dropped 2 games to start the season. One of those was to the Raiders. So let's not forget about that.
And the Browns.
Yeah, that too. All right, so big name. I got another big name for you. A guy I love. He's on 2 of my teams. But Tariq Hill is visiting the Single Digit Saloon this week. We're going to travel back in time to the year of 2023, where in 2 matchups versus this Buffalo team who just has the Dolphins number and whatever Coach McDaniels is trying to do there, they had a total of 34 points scored between the 2 meetings last season. Tariq Hill averaged about 11 fantasy points. He had, I believe, 3. Thing is, 5 targets in one game. He had 10 in the second. He only brought in 12 targets between the 2 games, scored 1 touchdown. They're in Buffalo. They're still kind of getting that offense back together, I feel, and Buffalo just looks good. If there's ever a week where Tariq Hill is not going to score well with Tua, I think this is the week.
Wow, so you're saying that it's not an aberration. You really think that Miami's reeling here. You don't think they're going to figure it out and get it together. They're not really in dire straits.
Not against Buffalo.
Well, I can tell you one thing. You look at, Tua's first play, guy runs up the middle and doesn't slide, dives.
I love that guy.
I love how he plays, and that's why he won't have a long career.
That's fine, but look, last year at Buffalo, they got blown out 48-20, 5 targets.
Blown out's like when you go to Salon and you do a blowout.
Yeah, you would know that. You probably had that done in the 70s.
Yeah, for sure.
5 targets, 3 catches for under 60 yards. So, they just know how to slow down this offense, and I think their number 1 priority is probably going to be Tariq Hill. So, you got, Rock.
So, we're going to go back to the running backs like Mark did. This running back is one that, honestly, was not expected to do very much this year.
Yeah.
A couple smart people like you in one league traded for him. and that is J.K. Dobbins. He has looked amazing. Number 17 running back, 4 double-digit games already, who plays for a coach that likes to run the ball. But one thing I got to tell Mr. J.K., he's running into the buzzsaw. Into the buzzsaw, the Browns.
Okay.
And you know where they're really good? Up the damn middle. And so I think J.K. will finish with 7 points this week. I
feel like you're copying him.
I also felt like it was a trick question.
Why?
Said you know where they're good?
Yeah, he's shouting. Yeah.
Anyways, J.K. Dobbins, 7 points. Sit him.
All right, guys. So that is a single-digit Saloon.
My 7 points is better than your 7 points because it's Derrick Henry.
Your 7 points is more shocking.
Like we said, go to the Patreon, become one of the guys, get full direct access to us. Go to the socials, please. Like and comment on all the videos there. Like and subscribe here. Hit the notification bell so you're notified every time we put up a new piece of content, whether that's our wonderful shorts or our full-length episodes like you're watching right here. Rocky, Mark, it was a good day, a good week.
Yeah.
Week 9, good luck.
Happy
We
Halloween.
love you. Peace. Oh, yeah, Halloween. Happy Halloween.